initiation, the ceremony that will never die, as long as new blood is pledged.
Never will die. Delta Chi. Never will die.
Okay, this is JBM here. Just gonna give us a quick few thoughts. I watched this 80s slasher June 15th, Saturday, 2012. There's really nothing original about this. It just steals elements from the Slumber Party Massacre franchise, Happy Birthday to Me, House on Sorority Row, Hell Night, and I'll go into that as I go along. But the death scenes aren't that really thought out, and it's a common 80s slasher setting, obviously, in the college, but they go away from that in the second half. The ending takes place in a mall. Most of the first half is pretty lame. She's suffering from nightmares, a specific nightmare basically, one where she sees a man burning who is raping her mom or something, and that comes into play later. But if you haven't seen the movie, it's going to be hard to explain here as I go along. I'll tell you when I get into real spoilers. But then she tells some science guy, and he wants to hook her up to his 80s machine, just like in Happy Birthday to Me, how she's suffering from repressed memories or whatnot, our lead character here. She comes from a rich family, a snobby old couple. Her mom's played by Vera Miles from the Psycho franchise. But after her dad dies is when it gets a little bit more interesting. And then there's a party scene. And I'll give the writer credit for at least trying some interesting lines. Just a B for effort, nothing more. Because at one point in the party, this guy's just like, you gotta get pickled. And they mix like a green drink that looks like some like apple schnapps or Smuckers or something, mixed with beer, keg beer. They mix that together. Actually, the girl did that. I think the main bitch who they try and play off as the red herring did that. But they do go legits. They do show the tits. Most of the guys are just 80s goofball characters. Typical. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the last 20 minutes. I wouldn't really recommend it. I'd recommend a lot of other movies before I recommend this 80s slasher. So this is for only hardcore 80s fans, not beginners. But, okay, the last 20 minutes. Two guys get killed off screen. And then a few other deaths are bow and arrow. A lot of the subplot revolves around this absolutely worthless girl who no one likes. Like, similar to the character that What's-Her-Name plays in Mona Lisa's Smile. The girl that gets hated on in that movie. Basically that character reincarnated in an 80s slasher movie. And, early on in the movie, obviously, we learn that there's a sanatorium breakout, and they make you believe that it was the lunatic who raped her mom. But this is where it steals straight from Happy Birthday to Me ripoff. A double of the main character, Kelly, as we know. And this is going to be my interpretation, because I looked at like 90 reviews in IMDb, and like there's like 40 reviews on IMDb, and there's like only a couple on YouTube, and no one really talks about the ending or has an explanation. There's also no Wikipedia page. So basically, her mom is like fucked up, traumatized, like in a catatonic state throughout the whole movie, and you get to learn why. Basically because she was cheating on her husband maybe for a while, and the kid, the main girl in this, she had twins basically years before, and then she finally got caught when they were 5 or 6, and one of them turned out to be her evil twin sister, who ends up being the one doing the killings. and they sent the evil sister to like the sanatorium. She's the one who got out, not the guy, not the lunatic father. He died eventually after his burns subsided or whatnot. So her evil twin sister gets out and starts stalking her, wants her life, and she ends up killing her friends and obviously killing the guy and trying to kill her until Vera Miles comes in and stops her. So basically, that's why her dad was like, didn't even care about the girl the whole time, the main girl, because he knows that it isn't even his kids. It's an okay story, but they don't tell it that well, and it isn't explained that well, and it doesn't have a wrap up like after the whole thing's over. It just goes to like the ambulance scene, and there's no explanation. We don't get to hear Vera Miles act or give some lines and explanation of the history of her evil sister that was sent away. The deaths actually get better in the last 20 minutes. Like the knife one, like when she uses the dagger, it's like similar to like the knife that the Joker uses in his second appearance in Bob Kane's novel. In Bob Kane's Batman. Joker's second appearance when he uses the knife and stabs himself. That's a spoiler right there. Anyway, but she gets shot. Her performance was solid at the end as a dual character. It's the same actress, so they do a dual film of her on the screen. Anyway, I'm gonna give it like a 7.5 at best. This was JBM from Mr. Creepshow 9 Villain News.